Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to go over the Goon animation rig. I'll show you how the controls are set up and give you a sense of the way I would go about animating this character. If we jump down to the bottom, he's got this ring down here that is the root control. This is not one that you want to animate. It's really meant for just translating your character into place within your layout and orienting them. And then you animate within that position. So you may want to lock that one straight off. So we'll jump up to the body. This triangle is the main controller for how we move the body around with translation and rotation. Underneath it, we do have a hip control that is an additional control, and usually this is what I would use for Z tilt and Y rotation for some twist. So essentially you do have two controls that are affecting the pelvis area, which is alright, you just want to be aware of how you're using them. Above that we've got the three spine joints. You can animate them individually, 2, 3, but you also can select them together and animate them at once. Above that we have the neck joint, and up at the top we have the head control. So something I really like about this character, and part of the reason why I really suggest him over some of the other more simple mannequin rigs, is that he does have some version of facial controls. So here's the jaw control. You can rotate and translate that. Corners of the mouth with these triangles. We have the cheek control and the brows, which you can animate either individually or you can kind of group select them all in one shot. The eyes are controlled by this eye target. You can translate the main one, it'll take both eyes with it, but it also has the individual rings per eye. And under these rings is where you can change the dilation of the pupil. You can either constrict or dilate, and there's also lid controls there, upper and lower. Now if we take a closer look at the foot, right here is the foot control. We can translate and rotate our foot around. It also has a knee twist channel, an extra attribute that you can just rotate here. And you'll notice that the rotation pivot is actually at the center of the ankle there in that ball, which may seem like a little bit of an odd place for it because you might expect it to be somewhere where it's contacting the ground. But it's pretty intuitive in terms of how it acts anatomically. Okay, now there are also a number of additional controls for the foot. We've got a heel roll, which looks like our contact frame for our walk. And we've got a ball roll, which leaves the front of the foot tied to the ground nicely. We've got a toe roll, which is sort of like our ballerina pivot. And then this is just the toe itself. And then rock is a bit more of a complicated control where it's kind of switching between two different pivots, so it looks like it's hinging on the side of its feet. And then at the bottom of that one is pivot, so it rotates around kind of the ball of the foot pivot. Okay, so it's a lot of different ways to rotate your foot around, and in my opinion, the feet are basically over-engineered. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, it's just we got to be aware of how we use these controls so they don't end up compounding some issues for us. So here's the issue. Remember that the rotation pivot is right there. Now if we use one of these other controls like the toe roll and we pivot it way up, look where our rotation pivot is still. So it got left behind. So now if we want to try and rotate the foot additionally to having it up on the toe here, it's not going to act in a very intuitive way at all. So that can be really frustrating, especially if you get into the graph editor. It can be very confusing as to how that foot is being controlled. My take is we ignore and potentially lock all these ones right here. So I think the ball roll is great because you'll use that all the time when you're doing your walk cycles and just shifting your character's weight around. So if we take a look at the arms, up top we have the shoulder control, the upper arm, the lower arm, and the hand. And the lower arm has all degrees of rotation. So often those are locked out, so you would only have the one axis that is really how our arm bends, like this. So you could either lock that off yourselves or just kind of be mindful of how this thing works anatomically. On the back of the hand, there's a six-sided shape that has all your finger controls, There are a number of channels per finger. So here's the base of the index finger, the middle, and the tip. You can also grab those all at once. And then the spread controls and roll. So you have all those controls for each finger, including the thumb at the bottom. And then also at the top, there's a really nice master set of controls which let you do them all in kind of one shot really easily. So I'll create this grip. This will spread them all at once. And this is a really nice one, it's cup. And that combined with the master grip allows you to get somewhat of a natural feel. So I use these master controls to basically block out my character so that you don't show the director or supervisor a character with this kind of flat, rigid hand. And then once I've gotten the go-ahead, I would basically zero this out and go in and do it right with these individual controls. Okay, so that's it for a basic look at this character. I really like him for our kind of simple animation tests. He's really light, so he'll move fast, and he's also very flexible, and he does have that degree of control in the face. So he's a pretty fun one. Alright, so I hope you guys have fun animating him.